Shalom, giving all praise to Yahweh, Shalom, Shalom to the 144,000 out there and the rest of the elect. Shalom to you all. Anyway, I'm going to entitle this video A Little History, the Neo-Babylonian Empire. Spoken of in Daniel chapter 7, I was watching a video. I watched like the first minute or so of a video that was put up by the elder Yashawan, by the head of GMS Dallas camp. And it prompted me to, we'll go into Daniel chapter 7, which is a very important chapter. We may cover that maybe this weekend, if not Isaiah 28, 29, 30 this weekend. But we'll see where the Spirit takes us. But Daniel chapter 7 is a very easy breakdown if you understand it. See, once you go through it, you should remember it. And we'll mention certain key words, key figures. Like the first one would be Nebuchadnezzar. Now, the kingdom, the time of the prophecy, the king raising himself up, the lion with eagle's wing raising himself up. Yeah, but prior to that was the Assyrians, then the Assyrians to the Babylonians. What you got to understand is the Babylonians were also Assyrians. So they're the same people, same nation of people, but they had different kingdoms. And I'm going to also show you that. Be quiet. Be quiet. I'm going to also show you that that they kept. In other words, there was no battle that took place between the Medes, ultimately the Medes and the Persians, and the Persians quickly came up to be the ruling empire among the two. So let's say the Medes started with the Medes and ended with the Persian and the Medes. There wasn't no great battle of mass casualties. It was a surgical strike. And they didn't have to, like you have the war between Russia and Ukraine. That should have been a surgical strike. It wasn't. Russia had to tear up the country, so now they got to rebuild the country. But that's going to lead into other wars. Ultimately, the Russia-Ukraine war will lead to the war of Armageddon. And that's just prophecy any damn way. This guy, Zelensky, Klawensky, whatever his name is, he's basically he's a puppet, mainly for the NATO nation. The head of that nation is the U.S. and other European leaders. He's just a puppet. He marches to the beat of their drum. And what he did was sacrifice the majority of. Well, there's no more Ukrainian soldiers, trained Ukrainian soldiers out there. They're just taking kids off the street, old people, old men. So it's a sacrifice, man. So it's going to end badly for him. So anyway, I'm sorry. Let's go into it. Like I said, I was watching a little bit of the video that the elder Yashawan put up and went into Daniel 7. Matter of fact, let me do this. Okay, so this is it. News and Prophecies, 8:30, 23. A world full of madness. Okay, let me click on it. So as you can see, this is 3 minutes in. He goes to Daniel chapter 7. So obviously, this is talking about the Babylonian Empire, the Neo-Babylonian Empire. There was a Babylonian Empire before that. This Neo meaning New Babylonian Empire. So what I did was Let me do this. No, I'll stay here. Anyway, when you actually click a page back, and you put in back, because that's what I did. I put in Babylonian Empire or Neo-Babylonian Empire. And this is the second page after I clicked. I think I clicked on the name of the individual. Let me see. This was the actual king. Okay, let me read from right here. I'm going to read a little. Let me read this. Nabonidus, detail of a stele. Anytime you see the word stele is stone. Like you have the Mesha stele, which is the Moabite stone. I believe that's Latin. And see what I'm going through is I'm showing you that what the scriptures say in the prophetic scriptures, like Daniel chapter 7 pretty much covers history from the Neo-Babylonian to this point now. We're still in the playing out the prophecy of Daniel 7. We're in the part of the prophecy of Daniel 7, verse 8, verse 9, verse 10, and the rest of the book. And this is why we stay, this is why we're diligent. This is why I'm diligent. I don't know why you're diligent, but this is why I'm diligent, because I know that the scriptures, that this is a living document. You know, they'll say the Constitution is a living document. Well, guess what? The scriptures, the Bible, is a living document. It's a crystal ball, if you will. It's a Urim and a Thummim. It's a mirror. So the people that can't get it, like these people in the Black conscious community, why can't they get it? Why do they always buck up against it? Because the Most High haven't tapped into their pineal gland, their spirit. Their spirit, they might have cleaned their pineal gland with some go-to cola or whatever, eating proper foods, but you clean it, but there's no connection there. There's people with a calcified pineal gland that could get that can get all these visions. So you know when I'm saying pineal gland, I'm messing with it, but it's the spirit. The most I haven't woken up their spirit. As soon as the Most High wakes up their spirit, they'll see everything crystal clear. So the reason why Sarnetta sees it, that's why he keeps. Go to Sarnetta page. What are you going to speak about? If he's talking about Kemetic stuff, it's always going to the scripture is going to be mentioned. Hebrew Israelites are going to be mentioned because that Kemetic shit is played the fuck out. Last time you had a fucking Kemetic movement was back when I was a kid, when they had the plastic Afro picks that you can use for a pick and a damn weapon. Niggas be stabbing niggas with the plastic Afro picks with the metal teeth. And I remember the dashikis because my parents got all into that Black African bullshit. Then they became Israelites. So, you know, I came up in that shit. Ungawa Black Power. What the fuck that mean? The nigga thought we gotta go back to Africa. That nigga still ain't going back to Africa. All right, you got hundreds of thousands of actual Israelites living in the land of Israel. How many Jakes is in Africa? Not too many. A lot of them go there and they come back, bring their asses back. So let me get into this. So this is the king that sat on the Babylonian, the throne of Babylonian Empire. This is the king. So if you remember that, then you can mention the name. You know, you read about Nebuchadnezzar, you read about Belshazzar, Matter of fact, let me do this. Let me do this. I'm a little all over the place. And y'all ask this question, well, what does this mean? And could you give me a break? If you do the research, you'll find a lot of this stuff. Okay, so this is Nabonidus. Nabonidus was to his apparent surprise proclaimed king after the deposition and murder of Labashai Murdoch. Let's look at this. Labashai Murdoch was the fifth and a penultimate king of the Neo-Babylonian Empire, ruling in 556. That was the time. That was that time period that we were in captivity, right? It started around 600. If I go a page back, it'll give me the exact date, 600. And I believe it was taken down, the exact year is 539. And it wasn't even, it was a 70, the prophecies speak about a 70-year rule. I believe that rule was cut down about 3 years or so. So it says, king of the Neo-Babylonian Empire. That's the Neo-Babylonian Empire is mentioned in Daniel chapter 7, when it speaks about the lion having eagle's wings standing up upon its feet. Ruling in 556 BC, he was the son and successor of Neriglissar, though classical authors such as Berosus wrote that Labishai Marduk was just a child when he became king. Yeah, the scholars argue with that. Babylonian documents, I'm not going to read the rest of it. So this was an individual that ruled before King Nabonidus. It says Nabonidus detail of a stele in the British Museum. Why do they have all that stuff in the British Museum? And you cats out there that live out there in on the other side of the pond, you should make a trip. You take a trip. Matter of fact, I've been talking about taking trips again. We'll probably do that in the near future. We may go to take the whole crew out there before they make us put the mask back on. Let's see if we can get up in there. Go down there one day and do a little video, because when you go to museums and you see these ancient relics, that's Elder Malcolm's term, relics. You say relics. That's a good term, relics. When you look at these ancient relics, it opens your eyes to the scriptures even more so. There's another reason why God fall off, because they began to doubt whether all this stuff in the scriptures is true. We know that the scriptures is true based upon the prophecies that are spoken of in history. Daniel chapter 7. Excuse me. Daniel chapter 7 is nothing but history, man, and prophecy, because it's going to end in prophecy. Like I said in the beginning of this video, opening this video, we're still in the prophecy of Daniel chapter 7. Verse 9 all the way down is getting ready to happen. Verse 1, Daniel 7, verse 1. Daniel 7, verse 1 to, let's say 7, or going into 8. Well, 9 is getting ready. 8 and 9 is getting ready to come to pass. So you guys that fell off, man, you fell off because you didn't get into the scriptures. and you didn't believe in the scriptures, you doubt the scriptures. Anytime you turn your back on this truth and go back into the world, you never believed this from day one. You were just faking the funk. Real talk. I'm day 12 of my yucky detox. Tastes bad, but it makes you feel good. Okay, so I'm all over the place. I'm all over the place. Okay, so it says, while some have suggested that Nabonidus. So now, if you want to get slick, and you let's say you run up on another camp or Edomite or whatever, and you remember this, you can say you can go into the Daniel the 7th chapter, and you can go into the history of Darius putting the order out, and then Cyrus came in right after. What was the name of the king of Babylon that was killed by the order of Darius? They don't know. A lot of these Israelite groups don't know unless you study. It's good to have these little pieces of information. So remember that Nabonidus. He was a king that was taken down when the Babylonian Empire fell. The prominent king in history was Nebuchadnezzar. So it says, wish to go as far as completely replace Marduk with sin as the head of the Mesopotamian pantheon. Pantheon meaning all gods. That's all it means. The word pantheon means all gods. The extent to, oh, by the way, the pantheon, all gods, meaning the superheroes of their time. Like today, you got Batman, Superman, the Man of Steel, all these different heroes. They're nothing but gods. Pantheon, where they all get together. So they had superheroes back, fictitious superheroes too, which Nabonidus, devotion to sin led to religious reform, and is debated. Nabonidus was in self-imposed exile, in which Nabonidus' devotion to sin led to religious exile. I'm sorry, self-imposed exile. So he ran away in Taima, Arabia. Give some dates here. And go right to the point. Belshazzar acted as regent in Babylonia during this period, while Nabonidus continued to be recognized as the king. So there was like a jockeying for position. When Nabonidus returned to Babylonia in 543 to 542 BC, he escalated his religious efforts and rebuilt the Echokol, the temple dedicated to the sin, in the major north of the city of Haran. And Haran is in the scriptures. That's one of the places that Abraham went to, from Ur the Chaldee to Haran, down in Canaan, past Canaan, through the promised land into Egypt. Nabonidus reign came to an abrupt end with the quick victory over his emperor by Cyrus the Great. But it was actually Darius that put the order out. Cyrus said, take this place down. It was Darius. And they argue over that. Scholars argue over that. But Cyrus was that king. In what? In 539 BC. And Cyrus the Great. Matter of fact, let me prove that to you. I'm not gonna say it. I'm gonna show it. There's one thing to say something. There's another thing to show it. So let's see. I want to go to all. Bear with me for a minute. Okay, Cyrus the Great. And you can see he's not an Edomite, but they Edomized him right here. You can see this guy's not an Edomite. He looks like a Elamite. Look just like an Elamite. That the full beard, because that was a custom from the laws of Israel. So let me see. Now, how many of y'all are going to sit down and go through all this history? This is why you fall off if you're not of the elect, because you really never believed in the scriptures. You just kind of, a friend got into it, nothing else to do. Let me go ahead and be an Israelite till I find something else new. When you get into this history and you link it up with the prophecies in the scriptures, you say, well, the scriptures that's the greatest book on the planet Earth, the Bible. So let me see what I'm going to do here. Let me see. Cyrus II of Persia, commonly known as Cyrus the Great, was the founder of the Achaemenid Empire, the first Persian Empire. That's why we say it started with the Medes, but it ended up with the Persian and the Medes. The prominent group was the Persians, but it started with the Medes. So Cyrus the Great, or Cyrus II of Persia, was what? He was the first to rule in the Persian Empire, which are the Elamites today, which are the people of Iran today. And doesn't this guy look just like an Iranian? Look at him. They Edomize him right there. You can see he looks like an East Indian. Look at the nose. Look at the facial features. He looks like an East Indian or a Persian. The Persians have a different look than that. They look similar, but there's a sort of a different kind of look. If this doesn't build up your faith, I don't know what will. You cannot tell me that Daniel chapter 7 is not a fulfillment of ancient prophecies. You know, I'm spreading it out like peanut butter for y'all, you know, feeling good. So I'm gonna say it again. How many of you brothers sit down and actually go into the history of the scriptures, like go into the prophecy and actually go into the history to see if those things are so? So when somebody said, well, he's a king of the Medes, nope, he's a king of the Persian Empire, also known as a Achaemenid Empire. See, I hate to bring up General Netanyahu, but he'll spew out some so-called history with the scriptures or the prophecy, like he'll go into the first Israelite king and that ruled Rome was Septimius Severus in 193 AD. He merely regurgitated, you know, spewed out some that he heard from Yeshaya years ago, because Yeshaya said Jake came into power under this guy, Septimius Severus, 193 AD. What Yeshua didn't know was there were Jake rulers as far back as, and I always go into this, as beginning with 96 AD. So you had, check it, you had over 100, well, no, not 100 or 96. Yeah, you had 100, you had almost 200 years of Jake ruling Rome, long before Septimius Severus was even thought of. So you have Nate teaching, and he'll blow it up. He said, first Jake king that came, an Israelite king that took over Rome, was Septimius Severus, 193 AD. And I do videos telling them that you're wrong, Ak. And he watches the videos, but his pride, he got to swallow his pride to say, I was wrong. Apostle Tahar was right. All right? Yeah, I'm gonna get more into this history. No, get down, boy. Get your butt down. That's my demon's dog. Anyway, you can clearly see that the man doesn't look like no Edomite. Does not look he looks like an Iranian. He doesn't even look Arab. He got Arab features, but he looks more like an East Indian, which are the Elamites, which are the Persians, which are called the people of Iran. Like I said, Esau Edomized them, made him look more like an Edomite. You can clearly see that this guy's a fucking Arab. Well, not an Arab, a Persian. So anyway, I'm sorry. Let me do this, and I'm gonna get ready to close. This is basically an introduction. I don't want to go, but if you're into the history, you'll watch it. Okay, reign 25 May, and notice this stele is in the British Museum. Why? Because the archaeological digs began with really the French. You had the French, the English, the British, and then America came tagging their asses on behind the French and the British. But the real archaeologists, the real diggers of history, are really the French Edomites and the British Edomites. It started with the French, Champion, okay? And they were all, I believe, they were Masons / Christians. And the reason why they dug stuff up is because to prove the Bible. But him digging things up, you do some digging up on Moses, you're going to find all this information on the Egyptian Empire. So that's why they know all this stuff about the Egyptian Empire. As of myself, when I go into prophecy dealing with Rome, you know me. I goes into that history, y'all. I'll mention names and dates. And that's why I know that the first Jake emperor of, are you listening, Bishop, General Nathaniel, are you listening? So you get it right. The first Jake king was a man by the name of Nerva. I said it so much, even Gabar confuses out because he hears it so much. It goes all again, going into the Roman history, but it's important. If these guys, Champion Alone and these Edomite scholars, because they were actually Bible scholars, Bible historians, biblical archaeologists, when they dug up certain things, Moses came up in the Egyptian Empire, so now you got to go into the Egyptian Empire. Yahushua walked in the middle, and he was a subject of the Roman Empire. So you got to go into because they mention it. Was it Tiberius during its reign of the reign when Yahushua was born? Claudius is mentioned in Acts 18. Paul wanted to go to the Caesar. But that time Paul was on the scene. That was during the time of Claudius. And who came after Claudius? Nero. And it was Nero that stamped the decree that Peter and Paul got put to death. More history. That's in secular history, y'all. Now let me read this here. Okay, I'm right here. Nabonidus was, to his own apparent surprise, proclaimed king after the deposition of the murder of Labishai Murdoch. It says 556 BC, and a plot likely led by, and now at this particular time, the Israelites were captive under the Babylonians. Then when the Medo-Persian Empire took over, they became captives or subjects under the Medo-Persian Empire. But they got positions. Cyrus the king was good to the Israelites because he financed the building of the temple. And by the way, Cyrus, Karash, means what does it mean? The chosen, if I'm not mistaken. As a matter of fact, that's what it means, chosen. Karash. Nabonidus' son, Belshazzar. Throughout his region, inscription and later sources suggest that Nabonidus woke to increase the status of the moon god, which is named Sin. So they had a god that they believed in, which was the moon god, which was named Sin. And decreased the status of Babylon traditional national deity Marduk. So this guy pushed one god out the way, Marduk, and replaced it with the moon god called Sin. So let's look at that. Going into the history, y'all. If you got a short attention span, go watch Bugs Bunny. Marduk was a god from ancient Mesopotamia, Ur of the Chaldees. That's where the Most High took Abraham and his brother, mainly Abraham, from his father, because when you go to the book of Joshua, it tells you how his father was following those gods. So the Most High said, "Nah, I don't want you following them gods, Abraham. You're my personal prophet." But he wasn't dealing with the father. He said, "I'm not dealing with your father. I'm dealing with you." So when you come into this truth, don't try to get your sons necessarily in the truth. If you're a prophet, that don't mean your sons are prophets. But if they seem to be prophets, then you work with them that way. But a lot of you men that's in this truth, you put your sons in this thing, and they don't want to deal with it no more. Because they're not chosen to be prophets. So it says Marduk was a god from ancient Mesopotamia and patron deity of the city of what? Of Babylon. When Babylon became the political center of the Euphrates, because Iraq is Babylon today, valley in the time of Hammurabi, they had a thing called the Hammurabi Code that goes back to the before the Neo-Babylonian Empire. Marduk slowly started to rise to the position of the head of the Babylonian pantheons, the chief god of the gathering of the gods is Marduk. So when this guy came in, what was his name? Labonidus, he said, "Nah, that ain't the God no more. The God that's going to be the head God is going to be a God by the name of Sin, S-I-N, which is the moon god." The Arabs, is the individuals in Islam, their God, that God Allah is based upon the moon. It's a moon god. Let me see. As Babylon became the political center of the Euphrates, a valley in the time of Hammurabi, Marduk slowly started to rise to the position of the head of the Babylonian pantheon, the position he fully acquired. So, like I said, this guy came along, Nabonidus, and said, nope, the number one god is the moon god Sin. Okay, so now let me see something. So it says, bear with me for a minute. So it says what? It says the last. Okay, the ruler was Lebashai Marduk, and you had this guy Lebonidos come, and then who was the successor of the Babylonian Empire? Cyrus the Great, which was a Persian. So all they did was it was a surgical strike. The handwriting on the wall, I believe that's was that Daniel 5? Somebody help me out. I'm not gonna go to it. The handwriting on the wall, which was literal, the king that was sitting there with his lords was Nabonidus. Nabonidus. And it was Cyrus the Great that came in. And it says right here, Achaemenid Empire, which they were Persians. Let me do this. I'll give you a little history on him. You can click on him. So you don't need to spend money and buy books. You go to Google. It says Cyrus II of Persia, commonly known as Cyrus the Great. He's the guy that was behind financing the rebuilding of the temple of Jerusalem, if you will. Was the founder of the Achaemenid Empire, the first Persian empire under his rule. The empire embraced all of. It says the first under his rule, right? Because they had to come up as an empire. All of the listen at this, and I'm gonna close. It says Achaemenid Empire, the first Persian Elam. Remember how many provinces did they have? 127 provinces. A province would be like a state, like the United States has 50 states, right? You got Hawaii, you got Guam, what else? You got Alaska, but then the continuous, United States from Maine to California, you're talking about 50 states initially. Guess what? The Persian Empire had 127 states. So it was twice the size of more than twice the size of the US. So that was a vast empire. That's why they said it could never be taken down. They said, Alexander, the Greek, you're a crazy man if you think you're going to take this kingdom down. And he took it down. Why did he take it down? Because the Most High set him up to take him down, take the Persians down, because to fulfill prophecy. See, Esau says we'll never be taken down. Our weapons are too vast. No. Well, guess what? You got the Chinese and the Russians. They're allies. The three great military powers of the earth is the U.S., Russia, and China. Tell me I'm a liar. So now you got two major world powers as far as weaponry goes against one, which is the U.S. And they're building up them BRICS nations. So you guys that are watching us that turn your back on the plow, you know that we're teaching the truth, and you're thinking I should have stayed with this. Well, you didn't stay with it because you wasn't of the elect. So let me read this, and I'm gonna go, because I'll be in this bad boy all day. I'm serious. I gotta have the discipline to pull back. It says Cyrus the second of Persia, commonly known as Cyrus the Great, was the founder of the Achaemenid Empire, the first empire, the first Persian empire, because it became an empire during this time of Cyrus. Under his rule, the empire embraced, listen at this, good, listen good, as I would say, listen good, embrace all of the what? Previous civilized states It says embrace all of the previous civilized states of the ancient Near East. So he took all those empires, all those regions, he took all that over. He took over Babylon. So therefore, if he took over Babylon, what came with the Babylonian Empire? The other nations that were enslaved under the Babylonian Empire, which included Israel, which included the kingdom of Judah. It says of the ancient Near East, expanded vastly, 127 provinces or states, eventually conquering most of, I'm not going to read the rest of it, but like I said, y'all got to go, y'all got to go into this, this history, man. This builds up your faith. So we know that the book of Daniel is real. Now, you know what I'm going to do? Let me do this. Let me do this right here. Let me go to Daniel. It's a very easy breakdown if it was broken down to you. One time, if I break it down to you one time, you should remember it. You should remember it. I remember it. The first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel in the dream, blah, 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 blah. Daniel spake and said, I saw in the vision, night vision, behold, the four winds of the heaven strove upon the great sea, and four great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another, meaning different kingdoms. The first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. This is the Assyrian Empire, which became the Babylonian Empire, which, by the way, the rulers of the Babylonian Empire were also Assyrians. High priest Ariah used to say, well, the rulers were Cushites. They were not Cushites. Why did he say that? Because when you go back to Genesis 10, it speaks about Nimrod, because he was a Cushite that ruled Babylon. But these are not descendants of this guy. What's his name? I just forgot his name. What the hell is his name? I just said it. Nimrod. I'm sorry, Nimrod. He was a Cushite. I beheld till the wings thereof was plucked up, and it was, and it lifted up from the earth. That's when it became the Babylonian Empire, and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given it. And that's the first king, Nebuchadnezzar. And behold, another beast, a second like a bear, and it raised up itself on one side. One side was greater than the other. The greater than the other side that was lifted up was the Persian Empire. It started with the Medes. It became the Persian Mede Empire, and then the power was the Medes, the Persians. I'm sorry. Watch the movie. The 300. When they went to battle, the group that they were going to battle with were the Persians. The king, the real tall guy that was butt naked with all the jewelry on, that was the last king of the Persian Empire, which was Osiris, which is spoken about in the book of Esther. He was the king in the book of Esther. He was also known as Xerxes. And they were saying in the history that he was very tall. And then, oh, by the way, the actor that played him was a Brazilian actor, showing you what? That the people over here in the Americas come from the Middle East. And it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it between the teeth. And they said, thus unto it rise, devour much flesh. And I believe that was, if I remember, the Babylonians, I believe Egypt, and I believe the Medes, because it was like a power seat over them. I could be wrong. I did history on it. I forget it. Help me out, y'all. Go to the history books and look it up for me. The 3 kingdoms that they took down. I'm not that good. It says, after this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given unto it. That's Alexander the Greek, and that's his 4 generals. Then the last one is the Roman Empire, ancient pagan Roman Empire. And now we're coming into America, which is the revived Roman Empire. And so this is yet to have happened. This happened. This is getting ready to happen. This is getting ready to happen. So guess what, y'all? So guess what, folks? Not even, look, come on down here. The 28 verses, right? All this got to happen. All this got, Daniel 9, all this got to happen. So we're talking about what? Only a third of the prophecies of Daniel 7 already took place. We got all this. We got to deal with all this stuff, man. Anyway, I'm gonna say shalom. Like I said, every once in a while, go into the prophecy and link it up through the history, man. Don't wait for us. Well, they'll teach a class on it. You know, we'll go. No, you got to go. You got to research. You got to grow in this thing, man. All right. So anyway, with that, I'm gonna say shalom. Sorry for going long, but I hope you found interest in this video.